Since word got out that NCIS Origins would be coming out on October 14th, fans have been wondering if star actor Mark Harmon would be returning to the show to play Leroy Jethro Gibbs again. After 19 seasons and over 430 episodes, it's not surprising that fans are hoping for his return, but it has also gotten everyone talking about why the beloved actor who had been a mainstay on NCIS quit the show so suddenly. Let's look at Mark's life to find out what terrible events happened that caused him to leave the show, and will he ever return to NCIS before becoming a big TV star? Thomas Mark Harmon was the youngest of three children born in. Tom Harmon, an announcer and football player who won the Heisman Trophy, and Elise Knox, an actress, model, and artist, are his parents. He has two older sisters, Kelly Harmon, an actress and model who was married to billionaire John DeLorean, and Kristen Nelson, an actress and painter who died and was divorced from the. Born into a pretty successful family, Mark was exposed to the entertainment industry at a young age. As he grew up, his family background gave him some insight into the media and entertainment industry, which sparked his creativity and made him think that acting might be a good career choice. Mark wasn't just good at acting as a child, he was also making waves on the football field. However, it wouldn't be fair to just credit Mark's natural skills and not recognize his hard work. For example, when he worked as a lifeguard in Laguna Beach, California, where his family had beach houses during the summer, his father would wake him up early so he could run for an hour on the beach before he started work. Mark had to report for work every day and sometimes had to run as many as 45 miles in a week. He later said that this exercise helped him a lot in getting ready for football practice. All of these different sides of Mark were able to grow at Harvard Westlake School, where he improved his skills thanks to the school's focus on the arts and its reputation for academic excellence. The school offered many activities that would later help him. Mark's work ethic and discipline improved while he was at Pierce College in Los Angeles, where he earned an associate degree in 2 years. After graduating from Harvard Westlake School in 1970, Mark was still playing football while he was there. And while he was there, major football colleges extended their football seasons. After Mark's sophomore year in 1971, he received scholarship offers from schools such as Michigan and UCLA. His coach, Jim Pendleton, wasn't surprised by the interest in him and even said that Mark had been named to the All-Metropolitan Conference team because he was a good runner and thrower, which isn't easy to find. Mark's father also said that they had received about 15 scholarship offers at the time. Mark was thinking about going to UCLA, but he was also talking to other schools. He wanted to become an orthopedic surgeon in the future, so he was looking for a university with strong academic and football programs. He chose UCLA over Oklahoma, even though Oklahoma had finished second in the country the previous year. UCLA finished last in the Pac-8. Mark Harmon is the son of Michigan football legend Tom Harmon. His parents and close friends were shocked by his decision, and they thought it would cause a fight between him and his parents. However, Mark said that his father told him that if he wants to play, he has to make sacrifices and put in time and effort. He also said, "He's proud, but he didn't push me. I play football because it's what I want to do." After getting to UCLA, Mark became the starting quarterback and stayed there for 2 years. It wasn't a surprise that he led the Bruins to an upset win over Nebraska in his first game, ending the two-time defending national champions' 32-game winning streak. As quarterback, Mark led the UCLA Bruins to many important wins, but that one stood out. During his time at college, Mark's father called the games on TV, which put him in a tough spot when it came to criticizing or praising Mark's play on the field, but he didn't need to be bothered. Mark was always giving it his all as a quarterback, and UCLA finished with a 1.751 record under Coach Pepper Rogers' wishbone offense. During his last season, he was honored with the National Football Foundation Award for all-around excellence. After a very successful college football career at UCLA, he was offered a contract to play for the NFL's New England Patriots. Mark turned it down because he didn't think he was good enough to go pro. Another more important reason was that he went to college to get an education and make the most of it. He hadn't gone to college to build a career as. He was a jock, but graduating with honors in communications showed that he wanted to make the most of his education. After graduating in 1974, he thought about going into law or advertising because of how much he wanted to learn about the subtleties of communication. Eventually, he started his career in business as a merchandise director, but he was about to face an unexpected challenge. Mark's father, Tom, is one of the most famous football players in history, and his blonde, attractive mother was a. Mark was the child of a famous person, which should have made his life easier. Instead, it wasn't, so he decided to try acting instead of just focusing on one career path. He knew that his acting career would be separate from his parents' successes and his own football success, so he took acting classes for 5 years to show his dedication to his chosen career. Mark wasn't like many other athletes who went into acting. He was serious about it, and often went to the movies to study the styles of Gary Cooper, Paul Newman, and Montgomery Clift. In 1973, thanks to his sister Kristen's in-laws A and Harriet Nelson, he got his first acting job in an episode of IA's Girls. It was only one episode, but it gave him a foothold on TV 2 years later. In 1975, Mark was in a number of TV shows, including Emergency and Adam 12. Even though they were all one-episode roles, he was getting more of them. The next year, he was in Deltoid and played Robert Dunlap in the TV movie Leaner and Franklin the White House Years. This role earned him a nomination for an Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Miniseries or Movie, which was great for his career. After working on many other projects over the years, he finally got the part of Officer Mike Breen on the show Sam Finally. He was in more than one episode and ended up being in 7 episodes, which was his longest streak in over 4 years. That same year, he was in 3 episodes of the miniseries Centennial as Captain John McIntosh, an honorable Union cavalry officer. The next year, he got a co-starring role on the action show 240 Robert as Deputy Dwayne Libido. The show was about the missions of the Los Angeles Police Department, County Sheriff's Department Emergency Services Detail, but the role didn't last long. Mark had been in 13 episodes of the show, which was something. In between these hard-to-get long-term roles, Mark would enjoy a few guest roles on other TV miniseries, which helped show how versatile he was. In 1980, he got a regular role on the primetime soap opera Flamingo Road, where he played Fielding Carriole, Morgan's husband. Fairchild's character Mark was in 38 episodes of this show, but even though it had good ratings at first, it was canceled after only 2 seasons. Luckily, Mark got the part of Dr. Robert Caldwell on the show St. Elsewhere in 1983, and he stayed on the show for almost 3 seasons before leaving in early 1986. By this time, Mark's acting career had gotten him more attention than he could have imagined. In January, People magazine named him the sexiest man alive. He was the face of Kay's regular beer and was in commercials for them. That same year, he was in the TV show Moonlighting and starred in the 1987 TV movie After the Promise. The next year, he co-starred with Sean Connery, Meg Ryan, and Job Foster in a movie called The Promise. His next regular TV role was as Chicago police detective Dickie Cobb on the NBC show Reasonable Doubts, a role he played for 2 seasons. In 1995, he played a private investigator on the ABC show Charlie Grace, but the show only ran for one season. He then went back to. From 1996 to 2000, he played Dr. Jack McNeil on the TV show Chicago Hope. 2 years later, in May 2002, he played Secret Service agent Simon Donovan on The West Wing in a 4-episode story arc. This role earned him his second Emmy Award nomination, exactly 25 years after his first. The creators of JAG and NCIS saw him on The West Wing and asked him to be a guest star in 2 episodes. In April 2003, Mark played NCIS agent Leroy Jethro Gibbs for the first time in episodes of JAG. When NCIS became a TV show in September of that year, Mark played Gibbs on the CBS drama NCIS, which followed the personal and professional lives of special agents in the Naval Criminal Investigation Service's Major Case Response Team, which looks into crimes involving the U.S. Navy, Marine Corps, and their families. While Mark was on the show, he got to see 3 of his old Chicago friends. Since 2008, Mark has been a producer and executive producer on Hope, along with Rocky Carroll, Lauren Holly, and Jane Brooke. On October 1, 2012, he received the 2,482 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. 2 years later, he decided to start a production company called Wings Productions to make NCIS Origins. Many fans expected this because his role as Gibbs had earned him 6 nominations for the People's Choice Award. Mark has won many awards, including Best TV Crime Drama Actor in 2017. However, in the 4th episode of Great Wide Open's 19th season in 2021, Gibbs, Mark's character, went to Alaska with NCIS senior field agent Timothy McGee to work on a case. At the end of the episode, Gibbs decides to stay in Alaska instead of going back to Washington, D.C., to continue his career with the NCIS. This was clearly the cleanest way the show's writers saw it. Mark's departure from the show was shocking to fans who had seen him on TV for almost 20 years. They wanted to know why he was leaving, and he explained it by saying, "It wasn't so much a decision to leave as the right timing to push away a little bit." He was happy with the storyline they came up with and how they handled the character, and the show went on some. Mark's age may have been a big reason for his decision to leave. In another interview, he said, "I've always trusted the writers here. They've always been challenging here. The character continues to evolve. He's getting older, and some of this I'm dealing with as an actor as well as playing the character." He said, "I've been asked that a lot, but I've always let the writers do what they want to do." He also said, "I'm not retired. The character is living in Alaska, as far as I know." Even Nick's executive producer and showrunner Stephen D. Hinder hinted at Mark's possible return as an executive producer and dear friend. Mark is still an important part of the show. Our North Star was always staying true to our characters, and that truth has always guided the stories we tell and where those characters go. He said this about Gibbs' future because longtime fans of the show may have noticed that Leroy Jethro Gibbs never goes away. Mark may have been taking time off to focus on his family. He married actress Pam Dober on March 21, 1987, and they had 2 sons together, Shan Harmon, just a year after they got married. Mark and Pam's values include a strong commitment to family and a desire for a private, peaceful life. That's why the family likes to keep a low profile and rarely appears in public with their children. The only times they have been seen together were when Sean played young Gibbs in several movies. Mark remembered the first time Sean had the chance to act. "I always think back to the first time they talked about doing a young Gibbs thing here. Sean had just graduated from high school when a director named Tony Wary asked him to come in and read, which he did on his own. I'm proud of him for taking his work seriously and how he approaches being an actor, not just on this show, but in his life in general," Mark said. I'm proud of both of our boys and how hard they work at what they do. I'm proud that they get up and try to do that every day. They also celebrated a family milestone, and Mark talked about how his wife felt about Sean going in front of the camera. She's a mom, and there's a pride in that, he said. Both of our boys have done well and hopefully made smart choices. They are doing well every day. Mark and Pam have been married for over 30 years, and one of their shared values is bravery, which was shown during on a crazy night at their home in Brentwood, California. A car that had missed a turn and flipped over caught fire. Mark didn't think twice. He broke the windows of the burning car with a sledgehammer because there were two 16-year-old boys inside who were stuck and needed help. One of the teens was badly burned and the other was slightly hurt, but Mark's quick action saved their lives. The boys were transfused to a nearby hospital. According to the fire department, Mark's quick action probably saved their lives when first responders arrived. This event showed another side of Mark, a man who is willing to risk his life for others. Even though he has won many acting awards over the years, this incident will always be. In 2018, Mark had to deal with the death of his sister Kristen, who was 72 years old. She died suddenly and unexpectedly of a heart attack, according to a Facebook post by her daughter Tracy Nelson on May 1st. Kristen was the third member of the Harmon family to die, after their parents in 1990 in 2012. Mark has not let these losses get to him. He has said, "I have to be challenged. The busier I am, the better I like it," and he has stayed true to that. During those hard times, he sometimes took his mind off of acting and worked as a producer for a new CBS show based on John Sanford's best-selling Prey novels, which have sold more than 30 million copies around the world. He also narrated the audiobook Ghosts of Honolulu, a Japanese spy, a Japanese-American spy hunter, and The True Narrative of Pearl Harbor, which came out in 2023, and starred former NCIS star Lashing. For many people who are wondering what Mark has been up to in 2024, Mark will be the show's narrator on NCIS Origins and will also be in the first episode, which will air on October 14, 2024. In that episode, Mark will talk about how his character Gibb got his start as a police officer. Mark himself has talked about his role in the new show. "I'm just pleased to be part of it, and I'm a distant part of it, really, because I'm not there to make any big moves or anything. I'm just there to support. And how can I help? If you need my help, great. If not, that's fine too." And so far, they're all doing just fine. He also said, "I don't know what to say other than I'm pleased to be part of this team, and I'm fine with the step back to let this cast do their work. We spent a lot of time in rooms finding this group that sits in front of you." A week into filming, he was impressed. "So far, I love this cast, and I love what I've seen on dailies and what I've seen on set. Fans are hoping that Mark will play more than just the narrator in the new series, and the producers have said they are open to the idea." Mark's contribution to television can't be undervalued. As one colleague put it, "NCIS has done beautifully, and I have to say we're here on a lot of great actors who have been here before us, some of whom are still here and some of whom have died, as well as guest stars who have come and gone, and this show has seen so many careers blossom." It's also a big tribute to Mark Harmon, who ran this show so well for hundreds of episodes and kept it true to its values and principles. "If there's one thing we know about Mark Marr, it's that he wants to." He said, "I was raised with the idea of maximum effort. As long as you could look in the mirror and say, 'I gave it everything I had,' it was okay. If you gave it less, that would shame you." Mark Harmon always gives his all, whether he's doing hobbies, football, parenting, acting, or marriage. Fans can attest to this.